Tonight on CTV News, an update on a crash that left Prospect Road closed for hours.
Then the power outage that left half of campus in the dark. Hear what students had to say.
And finally, how the new tobacco law is affecting students. All this and more on CTV News 11.
Thank you for joining us tonight on CTV News 11. I'm Edgar Cedillo.
And I'm Lauren Orcutt. A 36-year-old man was seriously injured. The crash that shut down the intersection of Prospect Road and Whitcomb Street for just over 3 hours Tuesday afternoon.
A motorcycle had struck the rear end of a sedan, according to police. The driver of the sedan was a 19-year-old woman who was not injured in the crash. Police are asking anyone with other information to contact Officer Drew Drakowski at 970-416-2224.
A woman who is suspected of being involved in the death of a Bellevue man was identified as 48-year-old Heather Frank of Greeley. Frank was found dead at her Weld County home after Larimer Sheriff's investigators were led to her house through a tip. The Weld County Coroner's Office has not yet released the cause of her death.
The woman who was found dead at the Larimer County Jail has been identified as 30-year-old Jenny Roffles of Fort Collins. Right now, authorities have ruled out any foul play, but are still waiting on the coroner to investigate the cause of her death. Her death makes it the seventh death at the county jail in the past 12 years.
The Larimer County Coroner's Office has ruled the death of a man and a woman in South Fort Collins a murder-suicide. 56-year-old Robin Barrett was fatally shot by 47-year-old Scott Rothgerry, who also shot himself but later died at the hospital. Police said Barrett and Rothgerry were in a romantic relationship and had gotten into an argument hours before. Larimer County officials remind residents that if you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, you can call Crossroads Safe House at 970-482-3502 or the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255.
Students who live on the west side of campus were left in the dark literally and figuratively this past Tuesday, wondering where all the power went. Kenneth Frederick was there and has more from what happened with what residents had to deal with for 4 hours. Kenny, what happened?
The power is out in most of the west side of campus from around 8:30 at night till about 1 o'clock in the morning. An official from CSU's Utilities Department stated that the outage was caused by a broken switchgear in the electrical system on campus. The switch was on the B-line grid, which controls power from the west side of campus. Many students were unable to work on school due to the Wi-Fi cutting out, but for the most part, they were unaffected by the blackout.
At the time of a blackout, I was writing an essay for my history class, which I was hoping I could finish that same night, but did not happen.
CSU facilities say that these outages are very rare and that students shouldn't be worried about events like this in the future. Back to you, Edgar and Lauren.
Thanks, Kenny. Larimer County could soon become one step closer to regulating oil and gas setbacks. Right now, the county doesn't have a setback within those rules. The Larimer County currently follows Colorado regulations, but the county Planning Commission has recommended the setback be increased to about 1,000 feet, up from 500 feet from any home or business. The Larimer County Commissioners are expected to look at the proposal on March 23rd.
We all know if you want to buy a drink in Colorado, you have to be 21. And now a new nationwide law is also requiring you to be 21 instead of 18 in order to buy tobacco and nicotine products. I decided to see just exactly how this new law is affecting the Fort Collins community. Carl North was an avid smoker, but that all changed when he realized just how addicted he was.
It was really just not a great thing to have to go back to the store, and it was a necessity at that point, and I realized that it wasn't going to further my education, and it was actually destroying my mind.
And Carl is not alone, because nicotine addiction affects millions each year. Now that level of addiction makes complete sense, because just one of these nicotine pods equals an entire pack of cigarettes. However, things will begin to change because as of January 1st, the legal age to buy tobacco products in Colorado is now 21 years old. Those in the health industry say this law is beneficial because addiction starts young.
Middle schoolers, high schoolers, and then college-age population are the highest users of vaping devices compared to the rest of the population.
Thanks, have a good day. You too.
But others say the law is unfair to those already addicted.
They're probably over the age of 18 and just under the age of 21, where they probably got addicted to nicotine when it was legal for them to.
As for Carl, he won't be impacted by this new law because his smoking days are over. So how is this going to be enforced? Well, it's just like drinking. Tobacco and smoke shops are IDing customers and making sure that they are of age.
It's a really interesting look at the new law. Well, Fort Collins City Council approved the proposed development that could soon bring nearly 4,000 homes to Northeast Fort Collins. The Montavo development is expected to sit on 1,000 acres in Northeast Fort Collins by the Anheuser-Busch factory. The developers hope that the area is built out in 16 phases, which would mean that the full build-out won't be complete for another 25 years.
More student apartments could soon be coming to South Campus. The proposed 3-story apartment building would add just over 50 units. Now, for anyone who's interested, the city will be holding a meeting to discuss the development at Plymouth Congregational Church at 916 West Prospect Road, just south of Canvas Stadium.
After a Trump executive order that allowed local governments to consent to allow refugees in the region, some local groups in Larimer County are helping with that transition.
After a waited for President Trump on the issue of allowing minors in the United States, the issue has made its way to the state capitol and to the county level as well.
Our local politicians really understand what it means to be a vulnerable child.
Not only does Lutheran Family Services build relationships with local politicians, but they build relationships here at CSU.
CSU, we partner with them. There's international studies students who provide tutoring.
After a partnership with Lutheran Family Services and several students at CSU, they help minors adapt to life in the United States, including a former CSU student who also moved to the U.S.
Now there's an actual connection, like we know each other. She knows about my life, I know about hers.
But sometimes that connection leads to learning that doesn't always involve the classroom.
Of course, but I get questions about the culture, and it's like, well, this happened at school today, and I thought it was weird. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Or
Services that Lutheran Family Services offers, you can visit lfsrm.org. You know, Lauren, when you go shopping, what do you usually think about?
I usually think about price and style, and that's pretty much it.
Well, did you ever think about the environment?
I usually don't, no.
Well, Remy Kebbel went to speak to some students just about that. Remy?
Thanks, Edgar and Lauren. You know, I talked with a CSU student who gave me more insight into how CSU is teaching students to be more eco-friendly, all while designing their own clothes.
Fast fashion helps make clothes more affordable, but the industry contributes to environmental damage.
Often we're told fast fashion is bad, but how can we make it better? Because obviously people aren't going to stop buying from H&M.
With a growing need for cheaper clothing, environmental damage becomes a huge concern.
If clothes are very cheap, you obviously know that they're either not good for the environment or they have bad labor standards because they're not paying enough. So once you buy cheap clothing, you realize, oh, this probably came from either bad working conditions or it's really bad for the environment.
Concern. Seasonal trends only make this problem worse because people want something new, ultimately throwing clothes away and further contributing to this issue.
That's why it's called fast fashion, because all of the different seasons, and if you think about it, plaid might be in season for 3 weeks, but then it's not, and then people throw it away because they're like, oh, I can't wear it anymore. So that's kind of where the sustainability plays a role.
But CSU professors are teaching students how to make sustainable designs that helps the environment overall.
So a lot of our professors do research in sustainability and how it affects it, and do different studies with different students on how to be more sustainable.
CSU is adapting to a growing concern of sustainability in the industry, and here they learn to be eco-friendly.
You know, Savannah Clark told me that to produce one cotton shirt, it takes 700 gallons of water. I mean, I just think that's insane. What about you, Lauren?
I completely agree, Remy. Now, is there a way that students can be more aware?
You know, students can actually help the environment by repurposing their old clothing and donating them, which is a lot better.
Well, what a neat story, Remy. Thank you. Well, it might be an election year in Colorado, but one Colorado town just elected someone that has all of Colorado talking. Krista, what do you have for us?
Thanks, Edgar. This story that I have is the first time I've ever really been excited about politics. Find out why after the break.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk. No matter what you're going through, I just want you to know I'm here. I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
What's poppin', Rams? I'm Krista McAllister, and I'm here to tell you about all of the spicy entertainment news that's going on right now. So let's get into it. Whenever I think about the 20s and alcohol, I think about the illegal speakeasies that allowed people to drink during Prohibition. Ace Gillette is modernizing this thought by bringing a legal underground bar to the 2020s. After being closed for 2 months for renovations, this cocktail and jazz lounge is reopening tomorrow. They will be featuring a new menu as well as live music. So if you need a new old place to hang out and eat food, you can make your way underneath the Armstrong Hotel for some of those 1920s vibes. But if you do need something tasty to tide you over until Ace Gillette's opens, the Great Harvest Bread Company has got just the thing for you. Cake, sprinkles, and fun traditions are three of the main elements that make celebrating a holiday fun. The Great Harvest Bread Company is celebrating Mardi Gras by temporarily adding king cakes to their ever-changing menu.
King cakes are actually centuries old. They actually started over in Europe, and it was a way for them to mark the Epiphany. That sugar that's on there had 3 different colors. Purple is for justice, green is for faith, and gold is for power.
The company started making these cakes last year and loved it so much that they are doing it again this year.
I was like, I don't know how big our Mardi Gras community is here in Fort Collins, but people loved it. It's a really fun tradition. We all got to learn about it and experience it and sort of bring something, from local to the South here to Fort Collins.
Great Harvest is combining the Southern style with their typical bread making process.
We are a from-scratch bakery. We do source a lot of our ingredients as local as we can get. So especially our honey is a big one that we get and whatnot, and we stone grind all of our flour.
Regardless of if they're making bread or cakes, the people at Great Harvest take pride in what they do.
It's fun to work here and work in retail when you're offering something that everyone is excited about.
Great Harvest has 2 locations in Fort Collins, but the king cakes are only being sold at the Drake and Lomé location until February 25th. With all the political debates that are going on, it's nice to hear from leaders that truly care about the people they're serving. This past Tuesday, the best of the best boys was elected mayor of Georgetown, Colorado. Parker the Snow Dog dressed up in a tie and glasses and was sworn in at an official inauguration ceremony. In addition to being the honorary mayor, Parker likes to hang out with Colorado sports teams as well as performing services as a therapy dog. It's just so nice to see that cute mayor being very engaged in his community. And now it's time for Krista's Catch, where I'll be talking about my favorite catch of the week. For today's edition, I am reviewing the, according to their voicemail, world-famous Cooper Smith's Pub and Brew House, or Brew Pub for short. Nestled in the heart of Old Town, Cooper Smith's features two buildings, their pub and their pool lounge. The warmth of the brick building and the happy chatter of those restaurant goers welcome me inside. Cooper Smith's brews their own signature craft beers, so I decided to try the PG version of one of their homebrewed drinks. I ordered a root beer float, and wow, was that an experience. Fun fact, Cooper Smith's partners with Walrus Ice Cream, so the root beer float is the sweetest combination of two of Fort Collins' most classic food stops. The ice cream itself was everything that you would want from ice cream, perfectly smooth with that rich vanilla flavor. The root beer is actually what I got really excited about, however. It had this deep molasses taste and was actually slightly tangy, but while being still sweet. I've honestly never tried anything like this root beer before, and it paired so perfectly with the ice cream that I felt I could float away. But then tragedy struck. Right before I finished my root beer float, I spilled it all over my lap and onto the floor. Of course, I was devastated because I couldn't finish the float, but the servers were extremely kind and understanding. Based on my experience there, I am rating Cooper Smith's with a solid 5 out of 5 stars. Not only was the root beer float something that literally seemed to expand my taste palette, but the customer service was legendary before and after my spill. The only thing I can say is that I will definitely be going back, but this time with a much firmer grip. Well, Rams, that's all that I've got for you, but don't go away quite yet because Litos Castro will be coming up next to tell you about all things weather.
What's up, Let's do.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back from the break, Rams. I'm Litos Castro filling in for Allie Small tonight. We've got a lot to talk about in the world of weather, especially coming up this weekend. But first, let's start off with your current conditions. Right now, it's a little chilly out still. 25 degrees is going to be what you're looking at. Still might want to have on that coat or jacket for you, and 5 miles an hour towards that northwest side with the wind. Sunset earlier this evening for you around 5:40. But what was it like on campus? A whole different story than what we've been seeing. Sun was bright and shiny for you. Ooh, what a day it was, just being able to walk to class without any sort of weather impairing the destiny on the way there. It was a lot nicer for you and much more liveliness on campus for you. Just overall a nice day, and I'm sure if I enjoyed it, clearly you must have enjoyed it too. But what's it going to be like in the state for you? It's going to be cooling back down, obviously. Grand Junction, let's start on that western side for you. 21 degrees there. Going to get really cooled down when you look towards Gunnison, -3. Even colder in Craig, -8. Might want to have the heaters going, the electric blankets working for you. Back towards the Front Range, you're going to get towards higher temperatures there. 20 in Denver, going to be the warmest. 16 in Colorado Springs and Pueblo. Then once you get towards the plains, Lyman at 9, cooling back down in Lamar at 7. But across the state, for tomorrow's highs, Grand Junction again, let's start it back over. 51, going to be the highest there. Gunnison and Craig, we saw the coldest temperatures there. We're going to see them again, 29 in Craig, 33 in Gunnison. Once you get towards the I-25 corridor, you're going to be heating up once more, getting towards the 50s, low 50s at that. Colorado Springs, the only one just out of reach there at 49. Then once you get towards that east side, Lyman at 53, Burlington heating it up at 56.
Can't forget Sterling, even higher at 58 there for you. In Fort Collins, it's going to stay warm just as we saw it today. Just real high there, 50 degrees, 26 going to be your low. Sunny and warm, should be another nice day for you. 5 to 7 miles per hour, wind towards that northwest again, and then 540 going to be your sunset. What's the 5-day forecast looking like? Well, let's start it by taking a look at your weekend. So obviously Friday heating it up, Saturday going to follow close behind at 51 there, getting just 1 degree higher there. However, start to expect some snow once you get towards the evening, which should carry into Sunday for you and cool it back down. 39 degrees, low at 24. You're sitting at about 50% chance of snow there. And then once you get back in towards the school week, going to heat up for just a moment, 44, 21 the low there. And then once you get to Tuesday, 33 degrees is going to be the coolest that we see across the 5-day, 15 of the low there. But the snow should be gone, so give and take what you can there. But that's all we've got in the weather for you. But do not go anywhere. We've got our man James Hall coming back with his weekend watch list. Don't go anywhere.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it. First impression. My way in. But here's the thing. Can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Can one piece of paper really tell you my whole story? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or how anytime there was an opportunity, I was the first one to step up. Because I wasn't gonna let my life, my circumstances dictate who I was gonna become. And all of that determination, commitment, a drive, that's me. And that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume, discover new ways to develop great talent like me.
Howdy Rams, I'm James Hall and welcome to the one and only Thursday Wrap-Up. Cam held the fort down last week for me, but it is good to be back. So to start things off, both the men and women's basketball team took on the UNLV Running Rebels earlier this week, but had differing outcomes. The men struggled during their time in Las Vegas, much like they have all season on the road. However, their road record, at the 500 mark, this could have gone either way. In fact, let's take a look at the action from Tuesday. Here we're going to see a little bit of shake and bake, make some room by Bryce Hamilton, who's going to drop a nice deep 2-pointer there. Here they're going to try and move the ball around, unlike what they usually do, trying to drive to the hoop. It's eventually going to find a wide open Amari Hardy, who drops the 3 easy. Now, this is where the Running Rebels usually do. Trying to go down, Nico Carvaccio says no, but they leave Jonah Antonio wide open for a deep 3. His specialty, he nails it. Now, the Rams trying to make something happen. Isaiah Stevens to Nico Carvaccio, hits Kendall Moore out there for a 3 of their own. Now, Bryce Hamilton, who had a day, isn't okay with that, so he's going to go and drive down himself for a nice easy 2. Carvaccio, not willing to be outdone, puts on the spin cycle off the glass for 2 himself in the paint. Now, this is the physical part of the Running Rebels. Here is Hardy trying to make some space, drops it down to a wide open Hamilton, who dunks over 2 Rams. This is the chance for the Rams to make something happen. There's the steal, the dime pass. But with that speed, don't think so. Bryce Hamilton says no. Now, we're going to look at that one more time. Could it have been goaltending? They were asking for it. Not even close. And with that, it is kind of how that game went. Now, when a team gives up almost as many points in the first half as they scored the entire game, which was 51 at the half and 56 for the entire game for the Rams, the odds aren't going to be in your favor. It also didn't help that Nico Carvaccio was the only Rams player to hit double digits for points in the game, and there wasn't another stat category where the Rams hit double digits. On the other side, UNLV was led by Bryce Hamilton, who shot 11 for 18, fairly well, for 25 points, and rounded out the double-double by getting himself 10 boards and propelling the Rebels to a 56-80 victory. Venturing back to Fort Collins, the women battled it out at Moby Arena yesterday. Decked out in Aggie orange, the Rams looked to bring home a victory for their home fans. Here is going to be Mackenzie Ellis, who just gives herself a nice, easy layup there for 2. Now, Laura DeVos is going to drop it off to Tori Williams, who drains a 3. Here it is again, but this time it's at the top of the key. Now, Williams, who's going to get an assist on her own, is going to drop it off to Mackenzie Ellis. This is the end of the half, and she drains a 3 right there at the buzzer. DeVos found a way to make something happen here. They were just backing it down. It worked so well the first time. She's going to back them down again, get 2 more points there. Annie Bradley sees how well it's working. She's going to put some off the glass, give herself 2 more. Lore, again, finding ways to make stuff happen in the paint. Here on the defense, DeVos is going to get the steal, and then here she is calling for it for 2 more underneath the basket. As we saw, Laura DeVos was all over the court against the running Rebels. Not only did DeVos connect on 7 of her 10 shots for 18 points, she also tied Leah Davis for the most rebounds for Colorado State with 5. Now, despite coming away with a 56-60 victory, the Rams ran into some trouble when it came to fouling the other team. Wajane Ray led UNLV with 14 points in the game, but all but 2 of those points came from the free throw line. Yeah, Wade finished the game shooting 1 for 8 from the field. Not the best, but she was almost perfect from the free throw line, ending the game 12 for 4. Without the foul trouble, UNLV probably wouldn't have even been in this game. As we look towards the weekend, there is another opportunity for Moby Madness to influence the Rams. The men are staying in town on Saturday to take on the San Jose State Spartans. After dropping to 6th in the conference with their loss on Tuesday, the men's team will be looking for what should be a fairly easy win. But that was said last week about the Wyoming Cowboys. The Spartans, who are 3-12 in the conference, are led by Seneca Knight, who for points per game at 16.2 and rebounds per game at 5.8. Also leading the Spartans in 2 categories is Bray Ivy, with his 2.6 assists per game and 1.3 steals. These 2 are gonna be on the Rams' radar this weekend as they look to right the ship that was sitting at 2nd in the conference only a couple weeks ago, with 3 games left in the regular season. And speaking of being near the end of the season, the women's club hockey team will be playing their final regular season game on Saturday against the University of Denver. Like any other sports at Colorado State, their final home game will also be Senior Day, where the Rams will be saying goodbye to 4 seniors when the season comes to a close. They are Stephanie Talone, Kristen Perry, Katie Hurley, and Amanda Seltzer. Talone, who leads the team in total points for the season, was able to get 10 points in her last 5 games, splitting them evenly between goals and assists. As for the other 3, Perry was able to get 8 points, 3 goals and 5 assists, and Hurley put up 2 by getting a goal and an assist each. Unfortunately for Seltzer, she hasn't played again since their game against Midland, and didn't help the team on the board during that game. The game will start at 8 o'clock at night on Saturday at Epic Ice Arena here in Fort Collins, and I'm sure the ladies would love some support against their rivals in the capital. As we wind down towards the end of the show, this is the time for Fact or Fiction. Y'all know the rules by now. I have a minute to explain why 11 statements are fact or fiction. With Cam not being able to get all of them answered last week, we are 0 for 3 so far, but I'm looking to change that tonight. With that being said, start the timer. Jimmy G is the 49ers' problem. Fiction. He literally just led them to the Super Bowl. It didn't work out in their favor. That's what next year is for. Next question. CSU men's basketball will beat San Jose State. As I said, they should. It should be an easy game, but with their struggles against Wyoming, this is going to be interesting to see. Next question. Moby Madness is fading. Fiction. Moby Madness is alive and well. It just requires the fans to actually go and make it happen. 4. CSU softball will win the Mountain West again. I'm going to say fact. Despite the shaky start for the season, this team has a lot of bounce back, and we're going to see that with this tournament coming up this weekend. Number 5. Garrett Cole was the best 2019 MLB signing. Yeah, he went to the Yankees. Of course it was the best. Fact. Number 6. The 2020 NBA All-Star Game was the best ever. Fact. They actually played defense. That's what I want to see from an All-Star game. 7. Tom Brady will retire a Patriot. Fact. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say much about Tom Brady, but unfortunately, that was not all 11. I need to work on this. However, with that being said, that is all the time that I have for you today. But make sure to follow us on Twitter to stay updated on everything over the weekend, as well as tune in to Monday's show, where we will break down the games of the weekend. As always, have a great night, Rams.